Okay, everybody, welcome back or in if you are a new person here. We're going to be talking about Michigan's non-conference. As weak as it may be, we're going to go through each opponent. It hasn't always been this way. It's just the last two seasons. Michigan has always had an average or a good non-conference. Um, you know, Mark Rogers was going through it all. There's only a couple in there in the 90s where it was, in the 2000s where it was bad. And, you know, it is what it is for this season, especially. But coming up, we have Texas, Oklahoma, and Washington. Texas and Oklahoma are home and home game series, which will be awesome because I don't like the neutral site games. I want to be able to maybe go pay $1,000 to see one of these games. Uh, the neutral site game versus Alabama was a bloodletting. And we've had neutral site games versus Florida and some other people. I like that we're getting back to this home and home thing, and not every team will do that. But here we go. And I would be remiss, first of all, if I did not say Happy Mother's Day. There might be one mother out there watching this. And thank you, first of all, if you are, and Happy Mother's Day to you. I hope all of you guys had enjoyed and at least were able to spend some time with the mothers that you know in your family and in your friendships, kindships. They deserve a lot of credit. All right, here we go. ECU is going to be played on September 2nd. And the head coach for ECU is Mike Houston. He is in his fifth season. He is 22-24 in his previous four seasons, but last year 8-5. Okay, Michigan has had no previous matchups with ECU. This will be the first time this game is played. Their program is 459, 444, and 12 all time, compared to Michigan's 989, 359, and 36. At quarterback, Holton Ayers is now in the NFL. So is it going to be Matt Garcia? And there's a question mark here on my sheet of paper because we don't really know much about him or any of the other quarterbacks. And even at running back, Keaton Mitchell is now in the NFL with John Harbaugh in Baltimore. So Marlon Gunn Jr. is the guy, I guess, at running back. He had 344 yards last season. At wide receiver, Isaiah Winstead is now in the NFL. He had over 1,000 yards receiving last year. And I guess C.J. Johnson is in the NFL too. He had over 1,000 yards receiving last year. So big breaks for Michigan here going into this game. He also had 10 touchdowns. The running back Keaton Mitchell that's in the NFL had 1,452 yards. So they need people to step up in the first game of the year versus a top two team in the nation. Good luck, but the defense looks good, okay, for ECU. They have Julius Wood back, who had 87 tackles last season at safety, which led the team last year. Okay, and then Malik Fleming had 41 tackles and 3 interceptions at cornerback. Jeremy Lewis, a linebacker, had 60 tackles and 4.5 sacks. And another linebacker, Miles Berry, had 65 tackles and 3 sacks. So it's going to be a tough game for JJ and the offense early on until we figure them out. We cannot overlook any of these opponents, okay? We've done that before, and we've had some major losses doing that. So next up, the very next week, on September 9th, we welcome in UNLV. All these games are at home, obviously. Michigan leads that series 1-0, and that happened in 2015. UNLV as a program is 190, 327, and 3, so just horrific. Last year's record was 5-7. Barry Odom is in his first season there. He was defensive coordinator from 2020 until now, at Arkansas. But before that, he was a head coach and was 25-25 at Missouri. They have a quarterback, Doug Brumfield. He is 65%, went 65%, 1,898 yards last season. He had 10 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. At running back, they have Aiden Robbins, who was a 1,000-yard rusher last season and 9 touchdowns. So we'll have to contain that guy. And then Ricky White had 619 receiving yards for UNLV last year. The defense, Austin Jake is now in the NFL, and he led the team with 124 tackles. So you're going to have to replace that somehow, and really the rest of the defense is unknown at this point. Next up, a week after that, 9/16, September 16th, Bowling Green. And Michigan leads that series 2-0. Both them games were played in the early 2000s. Bowling Green's overall record is 365, 308, and 11. Scott Loeffler is their coach, and he's entering his 5th season. He is 13-29 overall, but 6-7 last year. At quarterback, they have a battle. Will it be Connor Bazelak, the transfer from Indiana, who had 2,312 yards and 13 touchdowns, but 10 interceptions? Or will it be Matt McDonald, who had 2,669 yards, 22 touchdowns, and 9 interceptions? Just looking at them stats, you have to think that Matt McDonald will be the guy. But, they have that quarterback battle between a couple of decent ones. The rest of the team is not mentionable, though. Michigan should just roll over all of these teams. The toughest one, I would say, is the opener versus ECU. If we can get by them, then start to allow JJ to open it up a little more and get more comfortable with his receivers, because we're going to need them to do a little bit more in the passing game this year, in my opinion. So there you have it. The Michigan's non-conference is 3 cupcakes, as people say, and they should roll right through it. They'll be 3-0, and their record, overall all-time record, will be 992 wins. 8 to go to get to 1,000, which probably could be completed in this season. So thank you, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. Remember to like the video, share it with others if you think they would enjoy this content, and subscribe if you haven't. I see that a lot of people have lately, so thank all of you, and comment down below if you want to. I try to get to everybody if you are civil, and we'll see you on the next video. Go Blue.